Grandma lays down the carving knife along with the final slice of Christmas roast. My brother clears his throat, clearly rehearsed. We sit at the old oak table I spent childhood weekends polishing. In the house, everyone still calls our families. That's when Diego finally speaks. Lena, we need to talk about your living situation. I keep slicing my ham into perfect little squares, my holiday ritual, and ask evenly, what about it? He explains, our parents are getting older. The upstairs nursery would be perfect for his future baby, and I've stayed here rent-free far too long. Mom nods in agreement. Dad chimes in with a comment about efficiency. The verdict is written between their words. New Year's is only a week away. What they don't know is this. I've been paying the property taxes. I covered the hospital bills. I stopped the foreclosure. The deed is in my name. I set down my fork, draw in a breath, and decide that the charade ends tonight. I pull out my phone, breaking every rule of dinner etiquette, and dial a number. Chin Protective Services, a calm voice answers. This is Elena Markham. I need a team sent to Willow Ridge. Mom whispers, horrified, who are you calling? I raise a finger. Trespass removal, I reply, and the entire table freezes. Diego lets out a brittle laugh. I slide a folder from my purse. Inside are the recorded deed, bank wires, and the LLC documents showing who really bought this home when the mortgage fell behind 6 months ago. Dad pales. That can't be right. It is, I tell him. I spent $847,000 to keep this roof over our heads. And tonight, you were ready to push me out of my own house. Blue lights flash across the snow as a gray SUV pulls to the curb. 2 officers in windbreakers step out, calm and professional. I meet them on the porch before anyone else can twist the story. Elena Markham, I say, handing over my ID and the signed order authorizing removal of unauthorized occupants. My hands don't shake. Behind me, the front door creaks open. Mom hovers in the frame, her eyes wet with a grief that stings my chest. Diego barges forward. You wouldn't. It's Christmas. I wouldn't. If respect worked both ways, I tell the officers. We'll try voluntary compliance first, one of them replies. Together, we walk through the house, room by room, noting its condition. In the nursery that never was, a paper mobile sways in the draft. I remember the year I slept in call rooms just to earn enough to save this address. I remember the unanswered emails, the empty promises every time I asked for help with bills. Back in the foyer, I state the terms clearly. You can stay as tenants. A formal lease starts January 1st. Market rent, minus 20% for family. I'll handle maintenance. You'll respect boundaries. Otherwise, you have 7 days to move. Both options are legal. Dad looks suddenly small in his cardigan. Why didn't you tell us? Because every time I carried the weight, you all pretended it was nothing, I say, swallowing hard. I want a family, not a fable. The officers wait. The house itself feels like it's listening. By morning, the storm clears, leaving the yard sparkling. I brew coffee, lay out 3 copies of a plain lease, and crack the windows open so the house can breathe again. The doorbell rings, the notary, punctual in a wool scarf. I sign first, locking in the reality I built while everyone else looked away. Mom comes down in slippers, clutching her mother's rosary. She reads each line carefully. Boundaries, she murmurs, as though testing the word for sharp edges. Dad stands at the window, jaw tight, then pulls a pen from his pocket and signs. This time, the paper stays steady. Diego arrives last, carrying a box of ornaments. His eyes are red but steady. Found these in the attic, he says. He picks up the pen, hesitates, starts again. I don't want charity. It's not charity, I answer. It's rent. And respect. He finishes with a sigh. The notary stamps the pages, snow crystals tumbling through the draft like confetti. That afternoon, we return the house to truth. The nursery that never was becomes a bright study with the old oak desk. The dining room sheds its throne of expectations for ordinary chairs. I mark a folder repairs, another holidays, and point out the shared calendar taped inside the pantry door. At dusk, we eat soup from wide bowls. No speeches, no judgments, just steam, bread, and quiet. Later, I step onto the porch and flick on the light. One home, finally paid for. Finally shared. Tonight, I keep the house.